knocked out, unconscious, 106.
It's a wonder it didn't do brain damage.
That's what they...
Or did it? This was Caleb Reynolds.
This is what he looked like then.
Oh, my God.
And you guys are all wondering, what's Caleb Reynolds doing now?
Everybody, and welcome back to the show, Late Night Laughs with the Lawsons. This is extremely funny, and now I have to tell a story, not a first time, but a second time, but a third time. Today I have on the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Caleb Reynolds for the third time.
For the third time.
So, Lord, I'm so sorry. Very unprofessional on my part, but it's very funny. I'm glad we're this close.
Yeah, no.
Because
I would have been like, man, this. Not just through the remote and say, you're wasting my damn time here.
I'm on the clock. I gotta go.
Yeah.
So, guys, it's been weeks coming.
We're going to have to add a beep where I just said the F word.
It's okay.
And censor. My mom watches this. I'm in a lot of trouble.
You're grounded when you get home.
Son, I cannot believe you said that.
So this is round 3 for us. The first time I ran out of audio, okay? Like my roadcaster.
I'm starting to think you're doing this on purpose.
I'm trying to get as
like,
much.
Dude, if you just want to hang out, I mean, just let me know.
I'm trying to get as much footage as I can.
Yeah, holy moly.
Just call me next time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got my man Caleb Reynolds with me. And God, I can't believe I did not hit record. Well, I am the R word. Like, Jesus. So backstory on how me and Caleb got linked up is my man, he was someone I was interested in on being on the show. The third time.
You're thinking about the mess up.
Yeah.
You just got to let that go. You just got to let it go.
I'm like, did I push all the buttons? So my buddy Zach, who helped us like design the house, which was a nightmare, picking out all the handles and the paint and all this stuff, was like, hey, I know you have a podcast. I think I have a great guy for you. I'm like, oh, cool. Who is he? He was like, Caleb Reynolds. I was like, never heard the guy. And he was like, oh, man, come on. He's been on Big Brother. He's been on Survivor. I was like, wait a second. And we started talking about Survivor. I'm like, wait, I think I know. And then we started talking. I was like, oh, he's the guy who like had a heat stroke and they had to fly him out there. And he's like, yeah.
Thanks for remembering in a way of me almost dying. That's great.
Well, I remember you as part of the beauty as well.
Is that the guy that almost died? Yep, that's him. Well, that's a great way to be remembered. Thank you.
So Zach's like, yeah, hit him up on Instagram. Well, I hit him up on Instagram. Crickets. I didn't hear from the guy. And so Zach's like, hey, did you hear from Caleb yet? And I'm like, no, man, I haven't heard from him. I'm sure he's busy. Well, Zach takes it amongst himself and yells across the yard because they live kind of diagonal.
I'm outside cooking and he's like, hey, oh, what's up, Zach?
He's like, you holler at Daniel yet? Have you got back to Daniel? He's like, who's Daniel? Why do I got to get back with him? And so then Caleb reached out, called me. And at the same time, Zach knew we wanted to build this awning out back. And he's like, yeah, Caleb does construction and stuff. He's like, get with him, have him on the show, let him build the patio thing. And here we are with the patio built. Caleb's on the show for a third time. Third time's the charm. Yeah. And Jesus,
I've got my own story down pat now.
Yeah, I know. Just take her from the top. So my man, he was on Big Brother and Survivor, and we want to talk about Survivor a little bit. So you were on All Stars, and you were on the Beauty and the Bronze.
Yeah, so Beauty, Brain, Brawn was first, and that was Ko-Rong.
Yeah.
32.
Ko-Rong, is that a place?
Ko-Rong is the...
Where is that at?
That's Survivor Ko-Rong. It's the name. So you got like Survivor... Blood versus Water, Survivor,
gotcha.
whatever. So ours was Survivor. Ko-Rong was the name.
Gotcha.
That was in Cambodia, right outside of Vietnam. Super hot there. Food was scarce. And obviously Thai was Vietnamese.
Yeah. So he's used to that, I guess.
Yeah, so like him on the show is like, that's a flippin' ananan tree. Yeah. You can eat 6 of those before you have a stomach ache. And it's like... So, like, he knew so much about everything.
I guess that's good to have on the team, though.
Yeah, no, like, I mean, he made it really far. I mean, he made it to the end of the game. And it's wild because he was so little. I mean, he's skin and bones. And I'm like, but I mean, he's used to that. You know, like when I killed the chicken, which was a huge part of the, which is a big part of the thing. But I'm like, hey, guy needs some protein, bro. We're going to have to we got 3 chickens over here.
I do remember
They're all
that.
walking around clucking happy like I'm starving.
And y'all trying to catch the chickens was hysterical.
Yeah. Did you see what I did off the boat to get the first chicken? I pushed Aubrey's head and I jumped off the boat when I grabbed the chicken. So crazy enough, from the beginning, when you jump off the boat, I had my cowboy hat on, I jumped off and I grabbed the chicken and it was going, rah, rah, that is Mark. The chicken that survived the whole game.
No way.
It's the same chicken that I grabbed up front. So when we were going to pick the chicken, I'm just like, one of these chickens have to go. I'm starving. Like, that's why they're here. And Ty's like thinking they're all mascots here. And I'm thinking, these are not mascots, bro. This is, God put those here to replenish us.
Yeah.
Like, I'm starving at this point. You're eating like all this stuff. I'm eating some of it too, but like.
Were they laying eggs?
No.
Yeah,
that's another thing.
Yeah,
like, if they're laying eggs, obviously, you use that to your benefit.
Right.
But if you're not getting any eggs out of it.
What are you doing?
I'm about to use that body to,
No kidding.
So we fought about it for a little while, and I tried to tell them all, I'm like, look, you guys all know that I'm the challenge, beast in this tribe. I need food for energy. Like, I've got to eat. If you guys want me at my peak performance, I got to eat something. Yeah. They all agreed. They're like, yeah, Caleb probably needs to eat.
Off with his head.
Yeah, off with his head. So obviously you guys can see in the film, Ty, I killed the chicken. Ty starts crying, and I give Ty a hug, and I'm like, are you okay? And that's like one of the biggest comments after that episode was like, even though you are who you are and a veteran and extreme and tatted up and, Ty's this gay guy from California, and he's very sentimental, that you checked on his feelings. Yeah. He was crying, and I was thinking, oh, man, like, I know this bothered him. It didn't bother me, but it really bothered him to the point to where he's like, we have to eat it all. And he's like catching I cut the head off the chicken. Yeah. And so blood's going everywhere. He grabs a coconut shell and he's catching all the blood. And I'm like, are we about to do a ritual with this blood? Like, what are you catching the blood for? And he's like, we're going to eat it. And I was just like, oh, who's going to eat it?
How do you eat the blood?
So basically, you take it and you boil the water and you pour the blood in the water, and it turns it to a sponge, like almost like a bread.
Oh no!
And it's blood, yeah. So I tried it, wasn't a fan, but Ty.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, but dude, like when I tell you, Ty ate every single lick. He ate the skin off the feet. He ate the little, what are those called? The top. That's called something.
I call it their.
Mohawk,
yeah.
The mohawk, he ate it. He ate the intestines, like he ate the heart, the liver. He let nothing go of that chicken. Like he ate every bit. He's like, in Vietnam, you eat everything.
That is true. My brother-in-law used to date this chick from Vietnam or somewhere over there. And literally they would eat, she would go to the market because they have a market. She would buy a fish and literally eat she would even eat the bones.
That's wild.
She would like crush up the bones. Somehow,
they just don't sound good for digestive.
No.
Like digestion.
Could you imagine that coming out? Talk about splinters.
Yeah, it'd be like wiping with a pine cone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, imagine that.
Dang.
But Ty literally, he was a good player and a good friend.
You know what that means, though? You said that was like the biggest comment. Moral of the story is don't judge a book by its cover. Perfect example, right?
Yeah. I mean, a lot. So what's crazy was I didn't know. But there was a moment where I was sitting down with 2 of the girls, Julia and Anna, and they had mentioned they watched me on Big Brother. So I was like, because I tried to hide that. Gotcha. I didn't want anyone to know because the moment they look at me like that, they're like, oh, man, he just made money off of this show. Right. We need to send him home. So I was afraid to let anyone know, not thinking that more than likely whoever watches Survivor probably watches Big Brother, especially the age. Yeah. They're younger, and I was thinking, well, so we're sitting there. Well, they tried to get me to join the girls and then start nipping off the guys. And she's like, I think we just want to get this out of the bag. We watched you on Big Brother. And I was like, in my head, I'm thinking,
oh, shit.
Oh, my gosh. They know. And I told them, I was like, well, they were like, well, why didn't you just tell us? And I was thinking, oh crap. So I was like, well, I just didn't, I kind of didn't want to use, it's just a different game. So I didn't want to throw that out there because I wouldn't want you guys to think like, oh, he's already had his chance at playing a game. We need to just send him home. So I was like, I was hoping none of you guys really knew.
Did anybody kind of use that against you later on?
No. I think I was so embedded in the right ways in that the first game was my game to win. I mean, I was in a good spot. Now, obviously, when it comes to the individual immunity challenges, like more towards the end when there's like 8-9 people left, depending on the merge, I had a feeling everyone would have been gunning for me because I was probably the most athletic guy out there. And now, granted, not all of the challenges are about athletics, but the majority are.
Right.
So I had a feeling like, man, if I don't win all of these, I'll probably go home. But I was in such a good spot and was on the heartstrings of the right people. Right. Like Ty, he was my best friend in the show. He wasn't going to send me home. Now, he would have later, I think, if it came down to it. But like, even the girls on my tribe, I was just in with them. And, I kind of had a pact with them. Hey, let's go all the way to the end. And
right.
Which you say that with everybody, you say, hey, let's go to the end with everyone you come across. So Survivor was super fun, man. The first one was good, but obviously I went out with a heat stroke.
Yeah. And speaking of the heat stroke, take us through that. Like, obviously you probably don't remember stroking out.
Yeah. I remember basically it was the challenge where we had to dig in the sand. Yeah. We dug in the sand for like an hour and a half, probably. This is a long challenge. Obviously what you guys get is like, we dug for like 10 minutes. We dug for like an hour and a half in 120 degree heat. And you got to think shirtless, just shorts and like shoes on. So
sun's beaming on you.
Could
y'all stop and get like water?
No.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff about these shows that people just don't know. Like you get blindfolded, you get on a boat and you ride to these challenges blindfolded. So you can't see other challenges that you will do later.
Oh, so they're already set up.
They're already pre-made because they get tested before the players do them to make sure they're possible.
Gotcha.
So they blindfold you, they take you to the challenge. And some of those boat rides are like hour and a half, 2 hours on a boat, just going up and down, waiting to get there. Then you go in this like old army tent and you wait. Everyone's setting up, camera crews are setting up, getting everything ready. And then they call you out. You're still blindfolded. And then you take your blindfolds off, which is like your buff.
Right.
Take your buff off and then you're looking at the competition. That specific competition was just really, really, really hard because you're looking at a circumference of like 30 foot wide of each angle. Radius is like 15. And you got to find 3 little bags of balls that can fit in your hand like 3 feet deep.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
You don't know where they're at. So you're just hand digging with your hands. And like an hour and a half in, we finally found it. And then we're playing skee ball.
Oh, it was just one bag?
3 bags.
Okay.
3 bags of balls. And basically the game is skee ball. You got to roll these balls up a thing and they've got to go in the holes.
Each one.
Yeah, like literally like bowling pins, how they're set up.
Yeah.
Each ball has to go in one of them holes. And you've got to roll it like skee ball. And I was rolling, made a few, then someone else went because I was exhausted, and then they made one. The next person got up, they maybe made 1 or 2, and then they started missing everything. So I was like, just let me go again. So I got back up. And I basically finished the game off. We were neck and neck, though, from, in my opinion, was like what my thoughts was immunity. I was like, man, we're not losing. So I started going, and then finally I made the game-winning shot.
Yeah, that was cool.
I'm like, we're safe. But it wasn't even for immunity, though. It was for salt and pepper. So, but I don't decipher that. I don't think, this is just for salt and pepper. Who cares if we lose? I don't want to lose at all.
Going all in.
Yeah, so I'm giving it full throttle, and we're going to win. Well, I made the game-winning shot, and then it was like I just remember doing like the yes, and then everything started spinning. It's almost like my adrenaline was going, and then when it slowed down, it was just my body. It just hit me. Dang. And I crawled over to the shade, and they're like, "Caleb, you need water," and I couldn't even drink the water. I just remember not drinking water, and next thing
you almost
know,
started like hyperventilating a little bit.
Yeah, I couldn't breathe, and it was just like I don't remember any of the IVs. I don't remember Jeff talking to me or any of that. I just remember I woke up in the helicopter for a second, made sure I had my necklace on.
Wait, your necklace, what do you mean?
Yeah, so I had this same necklace on, but this diamond was on a ring, and it was a ring from Ashley.
Oh.
And it was Kylie's birthstone ring. So it was a special ring to them. And at the time, it was its own ring, and I had it dangling on here. Well, then after I got home, I was like, man, I could probably lose that. So I got the diamond taken out, and I got it removed, and I got it embedded in here.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's just one piece now.
Gotcha.
But when I felt from my necklace, and it was on my stomach. It wasn't on my neck. It was on my stomach because they had taken it off. And when I grabbed that and I felt it, I just kind of went back out again. And then I woke up in the ambulance when we hit a massive pothole. Yeah, we hit a huge pothole, and it was like boom. And I was like, oh, and I looked around, and I've got an IV in each arm, and this one's like orange, and I'm like, I've never seen an orange IV.
Yeah.
So I'm looking around, and I'm in a van with a bunch of like 3'5" Vietnamese guys with masks on, and I about freaking freaked out because I didn't know why I was in the van. I'm thinking like, how did I get here? Because the last I remember was I was rolling a ball.
Yeah.
Like I don't remember why I'm in this van. I don't remember getting on the helicopter. I don't remember any of it. And I literally was just about to turn into like Steven Seagal, and I was just about to start whomping some butt in there.
Yeah, because your military background, I mean.
I honestly thought something had happened. Like I didn't know what was going on.
Dang.
Well, the guy, he knew enough English to say, like Americans behind
don't hurt me.
Yeah, please don't. So it turned out okay. We pulled into the hospital. They opened the doors, and Dr. Joe was there, which is the extreme doctor there.
And that's when you knew, like.
Dr. Joe, he basically saved my life.
Right.
I mean, it was bad. It was bad, man. They didn't think I was going to make it. Like, it was bad.
When did Ashley find out?
Ashley found out when I was in ICU. They let me call. I called my mom. She didn't answer. So then I called Ashley, and it was like maybe 3 or 4 in the morning our time.
What'd she do?
Just started bawling.
Dang.
She started bawling, and she was like, she kept asking me, do you still love me? And I was just like, well, yes, I still love you. I'm in the ICU. Yes, I'm okay.
Yeah, I love you. You want to come over here?
Yeah. I think she was so worried and distraught because I literally almost died. And I'm in ICU. So it's not like I'm just in a hospital bed getting an IV.
Right.
I'm in the intensive care unit.
Dang.
And stomach liner had melted. My liver had got overheated, everything. And my organs were starting to shut down and everything.
They put you like on ice or anything?
Yeah, so on the stretcher, they had ice all in each one of my armpits, on my body, around my neck, because certain areas is where you put that stuff at to help cool you off faster.
Yeah, whenever I played hockey, they always, when we would get overheated, because we played inline, it was outside, and sometimes in the midst of summer, they would say pour water on your wrists.
Yeah, so they were doing everything. But on the show, if you end up adding a clip to it, you'll see it on there. You'll see all the ice packs all over me and stuff trying to cool me down. But if I'm not mistaken, at one point in time, I think my body temperature was like 106. Resting, knocked out, unconscious, 106.
It's a wonder it didn't do brain damage.
That's what they...
Or did it?
Yeah.
We were talking about Survivor.
Imagine me coming over, do your podcast. I'm like...
This was Caleb Reynolds.
This is what he looked like then.
Oh, my God.
And you guys are all wondering, what's Caleb Reynolds doing now? He got to him, bud.
He stroked out.
Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. I couldn't imagine. Like, how did you feel once you come to and it's like, man, I'm done. I can't compete.
Cried like a freaking baby.
Yeah.
I hated it. And they, after watching it, I was even crying laying there, telling Jeff no. Because he's like, Caleb, I'm sorry, but you have given everything you've got for this game and you can't continue.
That sucks.
And I remember watching the film and tears was coming out of my eyes and I shook my head no. And he's like, no, you don't want to quit? And I was like, no. And he said, buddy, you have to. The doctors are pulling you from the game because your body's just you've exerted too much. You don't have anything left. And So I did. I remember in the hospital, because they came to talk to me.
Right.
And I was just like, please let me continue. Like, I'm fine. I'm okay. And they're just like, you can't.
So did you end up like flying home after that? Or
Yeah. So I spent 8 days in ICU there. I was just so dehydrated. I didn't literally go to the bathroom, like poop for like 16 days.
Dang.
The whole time I was there, I didn't poop one time.
Just because you were so dehydrated?
Yeah. So then when they were giving me IVs and giving me fluids and whatnot, they gave me like so many stool softeners and stuff. And the first time I used the bathroom, I cried. It was all blood. I mean, it was like blood and skin because my stomach was like it tore my stomach liner.
Dang.
So I had, so when I came home from ICU, I was on like strict instructions for like stomach wall medications to rebuild my stomach liner and my stomach.
Was your diet pretty strict?
Yeah, I mean, they were sort of, they definitely told me to stay away from a lot of greasy foods. And there were certain foods, but they weren't like, hey, you're on a vegetable diet for 60, it was 6 months.
Any long-term side effects do you feel as if that heat stroke caused today? Like, are you going through anything or have any issues or anything like that?
I feel like I often feel like my testosterone levels are low, and they say that like heat strokes and stuff like that can damage stuff like internally to where it really does mess that type of stuff up.
Interesting.
So internally, heat strokes can really mess you up. They can cause depression, all sorts of craziness, all because of that.
That's wild.
So, I mean, you think of like a stroke, when you have a stroke, when you come back from it, even people that you don't see physical effects from internally, they can have issues from it. But I don't really know, to be honest with you.
So the lo and behold question with Survivor, how much money do you win if you win?
$500,000.
$500,000, $500,000.
No, $1 million.
$1 million.
$1 million. And yeah, so... And then they actually did a season that was $2 million. Winners at War was $2 million. So it was all the winners against each other.
So when you win and Jeff hands you that check, is it $1 million or do you got to get it taxed? Or how does that work?
I'd have to phone a friend because I never won. I'm like, hey, Tony, what happened with that money, dude? Because so obviously they write you $1 million check. I'm friends with several winners. So they do. So the check that they hand you has a bunch of zeros. It's $1 million.
That's wild.
And it's up to you to pay your taxes out of it.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which is like, so Tony, not to go into his stuff, but they took over half of that for taxes.
Would you recommend, like, can you take that and tie it up somewhere, like in stocks or anything like that?
Yeah, it's your money.
Nice.
Yeah, it's your money. You do whatever you want with it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And it's up to you to pay your taxes.
It's up to you. They write you the check, and at the end of the year, they're going to be coming to look for it.
So out of Big Brother and Survivor, which was your favorite?
They both have their pros and cons, man. Like Big Brother was just so easy.
Yeah.
You're living in a house, air conditioning, and
you're just yourself.
There's things about it, though. No TV, no music. You can't sing. Like on Survivor, I sang like every night.
Right.
Like on Big Brother, you can't sing at all.
Why is that?
You can't tap. You can't hum.
Wow.
You can't because of copyright infringement.
Oh.
So like if I'm sitting there singing some Morgan Wallen or something on Big Brother, they'll say, Caleb, please stop singing. They'll come over the thing. Yeah. So anytime you're humming, they'll say, Caleb, please stop singing.
Wow.
Because they've been in trouble for it in the past. So I like to sing a lot. So it was hard. Like they were always getting on me.
What, so you, no TV, why no TV?
No,
same thing, copyright?
Just they don't want you to know what's going on in the outside world.
So it's almost like
prison. But like fun prison.
Yeah, I was going to say like
you can drop the soap in Big Brother and you're probably okay.
Well, I don't know. It depends on who's playing the show.
But no, it's like there's no magazines, no reading material. Bible is all you got.
That's a good read.
No writing utensils. No, very strict with like makeup. No hair dye. No nothing.
So what do you do in your free time? Gossip?
Play games. Game. It's all game. It's all like, well, obviously they had a little backyard that you go out to like twice a week, 2 or 3 days a week. They got a little pool, a little hot tub.
They limit you?
Yeah, because they're normally building challenges out there.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So they've got to build it, and then they've got to test it, and then they have to, you play it,
Dang.
And then they got to tear it down. And then one day goes by. Then you got the veto comp. So then they got to rebuild a whole nother comp. And then they got to tear it down the next day.
Dang,
so like
dude.
really it is only like, if you think about it, it's like 2 or 3 days. That's a week. You go outside like 2 days a week.
I couldn't do it.
Yeah. And then when you do go outside, all you see is some clouds because it's like prison walls. You can see just the clouds. You can't see nothing else.
Dang, dude. And you made it pretty far.
I made it to the Final Four. And
that's great. And that was your first game show.
Yeah.
First TV appearance ever.
Yeah. And it was. And I actually created the largest alliance in Big Brother history then. And we almost all made it to the jury.
That's wild.
So everyone in my alliance made it to the Final Four. And then the majority of my alliance was all jury members, but one, Devin, because he was
Was he part of the original alliance?
Yeah.
And then so was he the reason that you were out?
He started bringing people in without talking to me about it. And then he tried to out us. And then he tried to fight me in the backyard. And I'm like, dude, you'll go home next week.
So they don't put up with that either. So if you get in a fight, you're done.
Yeah, no, you're done.
Dang.
But I'm talking like verbal fight, like,
gotcha.
Caleb, you're this, Caleb, you're that. And I was like, dude, look, if you want to argue with me, we'll just send you home next week.
Oh.
And he went home.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So who sent you home? Who made that call or what? What happened?
The last three, obviously, Derek and Cody were the final two. They had a final two the whole game. Derek's obviously a genius at the game. They say he's one of the best players of all time.
Now, did he watch it prior? Was he a big fan?
Yeah, he's a super fan of the show.
Gotcha.
And he was also a detective, police officer. And, so he, even like on Survivor, both seasons I played on a police, not Michelle, but Tony's won twice.
Tony's
he won
a
Winners
beast.
at War, yeah. And Sarah, which was on Game Changers, she won. She was a cop,
Gotcha.
too. So
now Tony, he kind of hid it for a while, didn't he? At first, there was someone that hid like what they did because they didn't want.
Most do.
Yeah,
most lie and say they're like me. I think I said I was a dog groomer or something.
I groom dogs.
Yeah, I groom dogs for a living.
She's
bro.
like, no, I've seen you on TV before.
No, so that's what I said on Big Brother.
Oh.
But so no one knew what I did.
Yeah.
But I was just, people were like, what are you doing? I was like, well, I just groom some dogs on the side. And, so no one knew that I was military really for a while.
Dang.
And then 4th of July came along and then I started thinking about military and, friends and
because once it's in you, it's in you.
Yeah, it was 4th of July and they played the national anthem and stuff, and I just cried. And
they're like, "Why is he crying? He's just a dog groomer."
Yeah, man, this is a patriotic dog groomer we got here. But it was either 4th of July or Memorial Day.
Yeah,
one of the two, and I couldn't help. Even still to this day, like if I hear the national anthem, I'm either really teary eyed or I've got them already rolling down my face.
Yeah,
I love this country so much, and just looking at the flag is an honor.
Yeah,
so I look at it as an honor. So anytime I get to look at it and pay respects to it in that way and stand up and not get on my knee or sit down.
Well, speaking of military, tell me a little bit about that because, we've been friends for a little while now and I don't know much about it that you've done. So were you Army?
Yep.
Army. And then where were you stationed? And
yeah, so
what were you part of?
Technically, I was in the Guard.
Okay.
I started off in the Guard, came home from basic training. I was in the infantry and I remember going to my recruiter and I was just like, look, dude, I just want to shoot a lot of guns and blow stuff up. And
I think that's what anybody wants to do when they join the military.
I'm just like, and my dad was prior. He was a sniper in the special forces.
Nice.
And then my brother was in, he flew helicopters. And then my stepbrother was in that I was raised with. He was in a Ranger, LURS unit. So he was in a Ranger battalion. So I was just like, I guess I'm just going to try to be bad, like all these dudes,
Did you feel pressure from them at all?
Not really. When I got out of high school, I didn't know if I was going to go play like baseball or football in college because I had some opportunities to. And then I just thought like long term, like would I really go to the NFL? Probably not big enough. Would I really go do this? Like what's the chances of playing in the MLB? Mm-hmm. How many get drafted to play in the MLB out of college?
Right.
So I started thinking, I was like, well, I don't want to waste my time. So when I got out, I thought, at the time, my girlfriend's dad was a recruiter, And I was just talking to him and, and finally I was like, you know what, screw it. I'll just get my feet wet and see if I like it. So I went to basic training, came home, and I automatically, the unit I went to just got back from deployment.
Oh, wow.
And it pissed me off because I was like, man, if I'm going to be in the Army, I want to serve.
Yeah.
I want to go over, crack some noggins, come home, do something for my country. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to transfer. So I did a transfer to a active duty unit out in Texas.
Nice.
I deployed with them. And we were doing like a route clearance type deal for like IEDs and route clearance for convoys and stuff. So we didn't really get too deep into the training of it. And then our objective changed. And then we were doing detaining operations.
Nice.
So basically we were inside of a maximum security prison over there for 11 months.
How's the prison system over there?
A lot different.
Really?
Yeah, it's a lot different. Like over there, they will straight up beat the hell out of you. Their guys will beat the hell out of them. We're not allowed to.
Right.
But like you can't do that in our jail.
Right.
You can detain. So there's a difference in detaining them. So like what they would do for us, and I've seen it multiple times, they would like smack you. Like I've seen them smack a nurse for whatever reason, and then they'll lay on the ground and put their hands behind their back, and the Americans can't do nothing.
Wow.
Because at that point, all you can do is just detain them. Now you can be rough with them.
Right.
But when they're detained,
you can't just like walk over there and kick him in the face.
No, when he's on his belly and his hands are behind his back, you can't walk up and kick him in his face. No, you will go to prison, like straight, because they're rights. They have so many rights. They have more rights in prison than we did over there because it wasn't our country.
Wow.
So like they'd throw pee in nurse's face and stuff, and then they would literally just lay there and put their hands behind their back because there's nothing you can do. But I'll never forget the pee situation. I seen one throw a cup of pee in this nurse's face, and the ICOs, Iraqi correctional officers, they beat the living daylights out of this guy.
Really?
They're allowed to.
Now, the dude who threw it, was he American or?
No, they're all Muslim.
Gotcha.
And a lot of them are, terrorists. And we had blue suiters in one side, and then obviously I called them blue suiters and yellow suiters. Blue suiters were all death row inmates, so like really, really bad people. People that cut heads off. The people that take videos and cut heads off and stuff. People like that is the people we dealt with every day. And we did, detainee transportation. We'd take them from meetings and stuff with their government, like high generals and stuff like that. We would take them in and out of meetings, and we would drop them off at like interrogation stuff and whatnot. So it was kind of cool. We did some really cool stuff, but for the most part, it was just babysitting a bunch of really bad people. Yeah,
I was, believe it or not, I don't know if you knew this, but I was in ROTC all 4 years through high school, and my dream was to like follow in my dad's footsteps. My dad's ex-military. He was in the Gulf War. He drove tanks and commanded tanks and was a gunner and did all the cool tank stuff. And as I grew up, he had like a shelf at the end of our hallway with all his memorabilia and like teapots that he took from bunkers and just like different stuff that he would collect. And as I grew older, I would look at the stuff and I'm like, man, I want to do that, or I want to follow in his footsteps. And there was always that teapot was full of pictures, and he would never let me look at them as a young child or a teenager even. Like he let me go through them when I was in high school, and I realized why. I like just the stuff, the photos and stuff. It was just unbelievable. Yeah, like see, you could do that then, but like now you can't bring nothing back. Really? There was a few things that when we would do like forced cell extractions, or like if we had to go in and get a dead body or something out of inside of the building there. If I seen like there was some people in there that literally could draw like Picasso. I mean, mind blowing how good these people could draw. I feel like somewhere I still have those drawings, but if I seen like a really cool drawing, I would take it. That's cool. In a way, I mean, I guess it is stealing. But, or if I found like a really cool handmade, allegedly he done that.
Allegedly, I did that. But there would be like a really cool handmade necklace or something that I would take, and for me, it was just kind of like I wanted something other than, because in where we weren't allowed to take pictures, videos, or nothing. It's very restricted. Yeah. Wow. So I wasn't like, if I called my family, I wasn't allowed to tell them nothing because it was so restricted.
Yeah.
So like now that I come home, I don't have any pictures of my work life.
Yeah.
I have no, I don't have, obviously I have pictures outside of the prison where we slept. Very few. I have a lot of pictures of training and at the gun range and stuff like that. But as far as like at work, we weren't allowed.
Yeah.
So when I was thinking about it and I was doing stuff, I was like, man, I want to take this to souvenir. Be like, yeah, I've been there, and I want to show my kids one day and be like, hey, this was on such and such made this. He's a very high ranking official in the Iraqi government. He was an inmate of mine. And, you know, so when it comes down to it, I thought that stuff was kind of like your dad's teacup.
Right.
I took it because I wanted memorabilia for myself, you know, but it was very restricted. I wish I had pictures to go back and do all that type of stuff and to be able to show my kids and my wife at home, like, hey, like this is where I was, like, look how cool, but we weren't allowed. So it kind of sucks to not have those memories on paper. I have them in my head, but to be able to, like, I would like to sit down and show you, like, dude, like this is where I was. Right. Now I could pull up on YouTube, you know, Camp Cropper, Baghdad, Iraq, 2008, 2009. And my unit is there, and there's videos of on there, but it's very restricted.
So he had all that cool stuff. And what I was getting to is, you know, I wanted to be like him. So, you know, somehow, I don't know how, I ended up in ROTC in high school. I did not sign up for it. It was one of those classes you had to sign up. Yeah. And I remember when they come to our middle school and, you know, you walk around to all the electives, like you're signing up for high school and this and that. And I saw these people in the green suit and I'm like, that ain't going to be me. Yeah. And I was like, no suit getting made fun of. And Dad, I swear to this day, I think he contacted my high school and signed my ass up. And it was like, yeah, I swear, because I didn't sign up. Funny. So when I get my schedule for my freshman year, it says military science 1, military science 2. And I was like, what's that? ROTC. I walked down there. I'm like, oh my God, how did I even end up in here? Yeah. And it literally took that first day. And my first sergeant goes, like, I was smirking because I'm like, who are these, you know, whatever. He's got a serious look, First Sergeant Hurley. And he's like, why are you smiling like a jackass eating firecrackers? And from then on, I was like, I love this class. Him and Chief Warrant Officer Murphy was the, like, two dads, you know, on top of my normal dad. My dad was always there. He was a great guy. But these were like two bonus dads. Yeah. And groomed me and really steered me on the right. Like, I just went to eat lunch with them probably 2 months ago. That's cool. I went and took them lunch. I mean, great guys. I would do anything for them today. But fast forward a little bit. After high school, or towards the end of high school, I was going to go to the military and go through Western's ROTC. My college would have been paid for, this, that, and the other.
You'd went in as an officer.
As an officer. That was the plan, and that's what Dad was shoving down my throat. And I felt like at that moment, and, you know, I was starting to play music at this time. I was traveling a little bit in my band, and then Dad's like, you're going to join the military. Well, I go take my ASVAB, go and get ready to sign up, and I'm sitting in the parking lot.
What'd you get on your ASVAB?
Let's not talk about it.
Did you get like a 33?
I don't even think they'd have let me shot the gun. Okay.
He said they were going to let me hand the gun to the guy shooting the gun.
Here you go, sir. This one's for you. This one's for you.
This one here is actually airsoft. We're going to let you start with this one.
And so take my test, and then we're sitting there and about to go in and sign up, do all this. And I'm like, Mom, I really don't think I want to do this. She's like, She's like, oh, thank God. She's like, well, honey, you don't have to if you don't want to, you know, like pushing me. You know, my parents are divorced at this time. And so I just felt a lot of pressure from my dad. Yeah. And then so when I told him, I was like, man, I don't want to join the military. I felt like I truly let him down. And he was pissed.
Oh, I'm sure.
He was pissed. Yeah. And, but the next weekend when I went over to Dad's house, I'm up in my room. There's a little distance, you know, because I'm like, he's still pissed, you know, but I'm up there playing my guitar, singing. And he walks in and he's like, so what do you want to do? You know, I guess what Dad wanted is he knew how he was when he grew up. And the reason he went to the military was to pay for his sister's college tuition. She wanted to go to college. They were extremely poor. And he was like, I'm going to join the military and be able to make some money and pay for her college. Yeah. Well, Dad just wanted to know that I had a path. Whether he would back me if I wanted to be a painter, painting walls in a house. He would back me for the military. He'd back me for anything. He just wanted to know I had
some sort of direction in your life to where you weren't going to just go and be a bum.
Yeah. So I said, I want to play music. And he's like, well, if you want to play music, don't get into all the drugs. Don't be ending up like these big rock stars, who get on set like Johnny Cash and Elvis, all these big time musicians. And then they just die young because of them, taking stuff and drinking all the time. He's like, if you want to play music, play music. If you don't want to play music, don't play music. But whatever you do, give it 110%. Yeah. And from this day forward, honestly, no matter what I do, whether I've worked in a factory flipping burgers at Wendy's, doing the podcast and this and that, no matter what I've done, I've always done it to not half-ass, is what my dad would say. Yeah. So that's good. I felt a little pressure. But at the end of the day, I think he's proud of me where we're at today.
He's probably like, son, I know this long ago you said you wanted to be a musician. Now you're doing podcasts.
Now you're dressing up as little girls.
Now you're dressing up as little girls and you're dressing like your wife. Yeah. Are you okay?
So he calls me the other day. He's like, hey. I'm like, what's up? And dude, he's just like me. We cut up. He'll cut jokes at me, this and the other. He's super cool. And he's like, hey. I'm like, yeah. He's like, so when are you going to make me a character? I said, all right, Papa, give me a little bit. I guess at some point I got to have the granny meet her future husband or ex-husband comes back in the picture like, oh, Daniel's back. Yeah, I done got rid of his ass a long time ago.
There you go.
But what I was saying is appreciate your service.
You're welcome, man.
And any of you guys that are, ex-military or thinking about being in the military or have served or even nurses, firemen, police officers, thank you for your service. Because without y'all's service, the world would be shit. You know what I mean? America would not be where it's at today. So I appreciate your service and everything you've done for sure. So service, TV, good looks, the brains, the bronze, the beauty, the muscles. What made you get out of TV?
I think I just started growing up and I had a family of my own. When I started television, I was single, living at my mom's house on a futon and working at Lowe's.
Small town too.
Yeah. Small town. And I was working in corrections. When I got home from Iraq, I started working in jail, at the county jail. And I just think just with what my life overseas and then coming home, I couldn't adjust. I wasn't adjusting good. And so they ended up letting me go, telling me that maybe later on when I have come back to my normal senses and got adjusted back home, maybe it'd be a better time for me. So then when I left that job, I was like, well, I need to make some sort of money. You know, I can't just live off my deployment pay forever.
Right.
So I ended up signing up at Lowe's, working in the outside lawn and garden, which I worked with my brother in a big landscaping. He owned a landscaping company for like several years. So I went in with some experience. So I got I think then it was like $9.50 an hour was my starting pay. So I thought I was rich.
Pretty good back then though.
And yeah, I mean, 2014, so I was thinking everyone else was starting at like $8 or $7.50. So I started out at $9.50 just because of the experience I had in outside lawn and garden. So I worked there for like 3 months, and then that's when I started doing television. I applied for The Amazing Race, and then producers started talking, and they wanted me for Big Brother. So then I just kind of, did that whole thing. But then, I filmed Big Brother, and then I filmed Survivor twice. After Big Brother, I filmed Bold and the Beautiful, so I got a little taste of the soap opera life, and wasn't a huge fan of how it all ran, and it was a lot. And then going back and forth to meet and greets, traveling all over the world and meeting a bunch of fans. It was super cool. And then met Ashley. Ashley was in television too, hunting for the Outdoor Channel, so she was constantly gone. And then I was kind of thinking to myself like, man, it's hard to be in a relationship and live this kind of lifestyle, traveling, filming, you know, and doing
because
this.
y'all are probably doing separate things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At that
So
point.
it's like I'm gone to this country doing a meet and greet, and then when I get back, she's gone to this state filming a hunt for a week. So it was a lot. So we were long distance for the majority of the first part of our relationship, and it was hard.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
It was difficult. And so then I got asked to film Survivor again, and she's like, wow, you want to do it again? It almost killed you the first time. I said, now you want to go back? I was like, hey, you know what? I got to go redeem myself. And I started something, and I didn't get a chance to finish it, so I got to go finish it. Well, then I played that, and then I got off that, and then it was like the next show, and then the next show, and then there's a new show coming out with Mario Lopez, what was it? Crushers.
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush. So then I filmed Candy Crush. That ended up being a flop because there was just too many technical errors. There's 400 TVs, and some just kept going blank. Some were static. They just kept messing up. So the show itself just ended up being a flop. And then I filmed a Celebrity Fear Factor with Ludacris, and all that money was for charity. So I've got to do a lot of charity work. And then, you know, you go to some of these charity events, and there's a bunch of reality stars and like 150 of us. And then for me, I'm like, well, I got me and my girlfriend here. And then you go in a room, and they're just, you know, there's cocaine or drugs, and, you know, the ones that are single and they're just doing idiotic crap. And then you're thinking like, man, I don't want to bring my girlfriend around this type. I don't even want to be around this type of stuff. Right. So a lot of these reality stars, when they get in that limelight, they just lose themselves. And no different than big time celebrities. They get into drugs and drinking, and it's so much to handle. Yeah. And when you come from a small town, you know, like Dustin Lynch, small town boy like me, when I went into that limelight and I made it so far on the show, I was very liked, and I had a lot of fans. I still do have a lot of fans. And it's like, for the longest time, I was so worried about pleasing them and keeping them happy that I was becoming unhappy. Right. So then we had our first baby. And then obviously that changed a lot as well. Like, I was asked to go film the challenge. I was like, well, I'm not going to miss the birth of my baby being born, my first child. So I didn't do that one. Then I was supposed to go film Amazing Race. Literally the day before I was leaving, and I was going to make history. Leaving and go film Amazing Race, I was going to be the first trifecta in history to do all three shows. That'd have been sweet. No one's ever done it. Right. So I was going to be the one to film all three, and I was like, I was going to make history. Like, wow, cool. Someone finally did it. They got invited to do all three. And then TMZ screwed that up for me. Me and Ty from Survivor was going to go, and so TMZ started releasing everyone. They got a leak that who was all going to be on the show. They start blasting it everywhere. So they're like, hey, we got to change the whole theme up. So they switched everything. So the day before I was going to leave, I traveled all the way to South Carolina for a $500 yellow fever shot. Got the shot, woke up the next morning, ready to leave.
What's the yellow fever?
It's something from one of them third world countries. Golly. Yeah, so I'm not really sure. But I you know, from being in the military and stuff, I had a lot of shots already that I didn't need. And a lot of those shots like that are like 10-year, 15-year shots. You get them once every 10 or 15 years. And then I got the call, and they're like, hey, I'm sorry, but your team and 3 others have been dropped from the show due to, you know, technical blah, blah, blah. So that really sucked. But then again, I looked back at it now, and I'm thinking like, maybe it was a blessing that I didn't go, you know. But I feel like family. I feel like, you know, at some point in time, you have to grow up and put childish things away. Not saying that reality TV is childish. Right. But if you look back on reality TV, a lot of them, they are really childish, you know, drinking, fighting, just creating entertainment for television. And I think when you start having kids and you start getting girlfriends and getting fiancés, and then you get a wife and all that stuff, it's like, okay, I'm not going to be this sexy forever. Right. Unless you're Caleb Reynolds. No, I totally see what you're saying for sure. One day the looks are going to fade. Yeah. One day you're not going to be the most athletic no more. One day. So then when you are not any of those things, what are you offering to your family? Right. What do you have? And I think that was the moment where I was like, you know what? I got to create a life for myself outside of a TV screen. Yeah. Because I won't always be on it. You know, now Chuck Norris is still on it. So, I mean, I
He
guess
ain't
unless
the
you're Chuck
greatest
Norris,
looking guy, but he's still on there.
He's still killing it. But I think that's kind of what switched my mindset was like, you know what? I have a family.
Yeah.
My job on this planet now is to provide and be a shelter for my family. And so that was one of the turning points for me. Now, granted, if Survivor called me again, which they've asked me to do a third time, I told them, hey, I just need some time. And so I think maybe when the kids get a little bit older, I think they'll ask me again. Jeff Probst is a fan of me. He really liked the way I played the game.
And he wasn't at first.
He wasn't at first. And then he literally released an entire article about me.
That's awesome.
And I'm the only one he's ever done that to.
That's cool.
So the fact that he did that, and he even asked me, hated how I went home the second time. He said it wasn't fair. And he's like, man, I hate seeing a player with your potential go home in this way because it just sucks. So he's like, would you play again if you were asked? And I was like, yeah, I'll play again, just in time.
Yeah.
So maybe one day on another podcast, one day when I'm filming, I may be able to be like, hey, you guys might see me soon.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you think Ashley would be like, say, yeah, go do it?
I think she would.
Yeah.
Survivor, I think she would. I wouldn't do Big Brother again.
Yeah.
3 months away from home is ridiculous, especially when you have a family, man. Because
how long is Survivor? How long are you gone for? Like if he was to go from...
I think they've changed it, but when I played, it was 39 days. Total is like 55 total.
Yeah.
But...
That's not bad.
No, but Big Brother was like 100 something days.
Right, yeah, exactly.
Like 3 months, the whole summer you're gone. But Survivor, I think, might be now like only 30. Or like it might only be like 29 days or something. So they switched it. I believe they switched it.
Well, I know they like American Idol. They had the biggest drop in Idol history this season. Like they had the biggest cut, and I think it's because they're just trying to hurry up, finish the season, and start a new one. Just to keep people entertained, I guess.
Yeah. So now I'm a dad, a husband,
a friend.
Yeah, I've just tried to transition my whole mindset to something a lot bigger and greater than television. Television was good, and it gave me the platform to share a lot of really cool things and
meet some cool people. I'm sure.
Yeah, I've got to meet some big time celebrities, and I consider them friends, although I don't talk to them all the time. But I've gained some really cool friends from it, and I've got a lot of really cool opportunities. I've got to raise a lot of money for charities.
That's awesome.
Stuff that if I wasn't in that limelight, I wouldn't have gotten to do.
Right.
So the fact that I have, I mean, man, it was a blessing. And I'll tell you a crazy story I haven't shared with you yet. Before I deployed, I lived in Texas, and I went to this random church one day in Dallas, and the pastor there had no idea who I was. I went with my dad, and he was walking down the aisle, and he's like, son, stand up. And I stood up. He's like, what's your name? I said, Caleb. And he's like, Caleb, God has a word for you. And I was like, what's that? And he said, one day you're going to be an influence to millions of people. And I was just like, in my head, the younger me was like,
yeah,
who's this freaking guy?
Right.
How you know that?
Yeah.
I'm going to be an influence to millions. Am I going to be the president? I barely finished high school.
Right.
I chose not to go to the NFL. I chose not to do MLB. I chose not to do these things. How in the world am I going to, not knowing social media would take the route that it took, and not knowing I was going to be on television the way that I did, and not knowing that the very first television show I was on had 8-9 million viewers. And then the second show after that had 4, 5, 6 million. And then the next show, the same. And then, so I look back at that, and it took me a while, but I looked back at that day, and I looked back at the young kid that I was, and I was like, man, that guy was right.
Yeah.
God really did have a word for me that day. And so for people that are like, hey, like God don't speak through people like that and whatnot, I truly believe that out of the whole church, he stopped next to me. He's like, stand up, son. And just the fact that he told me that, and it actually did happen.
Yeah.
I do influence millions of people. And the fact that it actually came true.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was like wow, like God spoke to me that day through him.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so cool.
That's cool.
Because I ended up doing what he said I was going to do. But it's cool, It's cool, but now it's time to be a family man, and create a path for my family and my kids to where one day, you know, they'll be set.
Well, now you got your chance to influence them, right? Like through life and their growth and kind of steer them on the right path. And you don't have to do that being on television.
No,
you can influence them every day, the second they wake up, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely the path I want to go down. And, you know, I can definitely say I didn't have the greatest childhood. I think people that know me and watched Big Brother and watched the live feeds, I talked about a lot with my childhood, but I've told you too, like just, I didn't have to do it. I think I only done it one time, but literally I had to sing for food. You know, I sang for Taco Bell. I wanted Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Me and my brothers all wanted Taco Bell, you know, yo quiero Taco Bell. That's when they had the dog and like tacos were like 20 cents a taco.
Yeah.
But my mom just didn't have the money. You know, my dad left and my mom was working 2 or 3 jobs trying to support all of us. And I mean, we were eating ravioli out of a can and, you know, that macaroni and tomato juice was like it for us.
Yeah.
And then Sunday after church, you know, we're like, hey, can we get Taco Bell? And she's like, I'm sorry. You know, we just don't have it. Me and my brothers are like, yeah, we do. Drop us off at the truck stop. We're going to grab a guitar and open the case and sing Christmas carols and eat us some Taco Bell. That's what we did.
Yeah.
We sang there and we sang for probably 10, 15 minutes. We counted the money and we're like, hey, let's go get us some tacos. Mom took us across the street and we got our tacos. And,
that's cool.
You know, so it's, you know, grew up in a divorced home as well. And I've learned so much.
Yeah.
I feel like the path that you're in, that you're set into, not the path you've chosen for myself, like for yourself. Right. I feel like that path is there for a reason. And that path is, when you walk that path, you learn so much from walking that path, you know? And I feel like that path is what shapes you into the path you create for yourself and your family. And so growing up, how I grew up, doing the things I did, you know, and then ended up landing a big television show and being an influence to a lot of people. And then now it's like, okay, so now instead of impressing everyone else on this planet, I want to impress my family. Like that's at the end of it. I want my mom to be proud of me.
Right.
I want my family to be proud of me. I want my wife to look at me every evening and say, hey, I'm proud of you. You know, it's hard to be proud of me for going to film a television show. You know, that was a door that opened. I walked through it, and it was a blessing in a way, and it was a curse in a way. You know, this life that you live and I live, and the celebrity life, everyone thinks that's just glorified, and it's not.
No, I agree, because it's so weird, because it matters what I say just because I'm known.
Yeah.
But if Sally was to say the same thing, it's not a big deal.
No one cares. Yeah, like Sally can say who she wants to vote for.
Yeah,
you can't.
No, I can't.
No,
because
you can't.
Which I don't even vote. I know nothing about politics. Yeah. Not enough that literally I just found out. Did I tell you the story about me and my buddy talking to this comedian, and he was like, "Hey, what's the demographic of people down here?" He was doing a comedy show in Bowling Green. I was like, he said, or like, what's another word for Democrat? Or
Democrat?
Yeah.
You're talking about liberal.
Liberal, yeah. Liberals. And conservatives. Yeah. So you got your liberals and your conservatives. And he was like, what is it? Liberals are Democrats, right?
Basically.
And then your conservatives are
your Republicans. But yeah.
Yeah. So he was like, are they pretty conservative? I was like, I think they're pretty Republican here. He was like, that's the same thing, buddy. I was like, oh, okay. I made myself look so stupid in front of this guy. And Jordan, my buddy, was cracking up because he's smarter than me with that stuff. And but yeah, it was so funny. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is it matters what we say just because we're in the limelight. But if it's Sally who says something, no one cares, which I don't really like that, because at the end of the day, we're people too.
I'm the same. Like, I was literally just thinking that, like, I have a hole at the end of my, I'm not allowed to do this because I've been on television.
Yeah.
I'm going to get canceled now.
You
because
are going to get canceled.
I've got a hole in my shoe. But this right here is proof I'm different than no one else.
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay. I have a little hole in my shoe.
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget to cut my nails.
And I sweat really bad
Yeah, and I do too. Like I even fart.
And we have problems.
We have problems.
We have discussions with our wives, and our wives think we're idiots too.
It honestly is crazy. Like for the longest time, I've been so afraid to share outside of my Christianity, you know, in my walk with Christ and stuff, because I don't care who says anything about that. It is what it is.
Right.
And I'm very much so God, family, freedom. And that's just how, obviously I'm an Army guy too. And I've fought for the flag. I would die for the flag.
Yeah.
And now you've got Democrats that would fight for the flag and die for the flag too. I don't think all Republicans are great. I really don't. I also don't think Democrats are all great. The majority of them, probably. But the whole system itself, I'm starting to realize over years of developing and the more years of listening and watching the system, they're all corrupt.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, like people are like, well, are you Democrat or Republican? For the longest time, I'm just like, hey, I just really don't talk about politics with people. I'm at the point now to where I'm like, I don't give a crap who runs the country. Just love the people.
Love the people, love the country.
Love the country and do what's best for us.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what you're called to do.
And that's where I stand. I'm like that fine line. I'm literally in the middle. I mean, I know what a Republican is. I know what a Democrat is. There's things that I agree with on both sides. There's things that I disagree with on both sides. But I'm like that fine line. And like you, as long as you're in the position and you're able to make the right decisions that can not just benefit you or people upstairs, you know, like help everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Recognize a problem, figure out a solution.
Yeah.
And fix it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I truly feel like for the last however long now, like the government is all about them.
Oh, that's,
you know,
that's
they've
the
been
majority
about
of humans.
And what's crazy is if you really think about it, there's more of us than there is them.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy because I have born and raised obviously with my own belief systems and whatnot. I didn't really understand politics until like the last maybe 10 years. I've actually paid more attention, maybe even 5 years, actually becoming somewhat knowledgeable in politics enough to where I stand on what I believe in.
Right.
And whoever else out there, if you believe how you want to believe, agree how you want to agree, vote for who you want to vote for. I don't care.
Yeah.
But it's crazy that someone like me can say, I don't care who you vote for. You're my friend.
Yeah.
But if you vote away, it's different beliefs than someone else, and you've got a following or you've been on television.
Yeah.
Unfollow. I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing.
Unfollow like yesterday.
Yeah, and
you know, and it's wild because I'm like, I don't care who you voted for, and I just liked your video.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you're a great person, and there's great people out there. Who cares who they vote for or what their belief is?
We vote for who we believe is, in our opinion, that is going to do a good job.
Which you're allowed to have.
Which I'm allowed to have. I mean, it's my right.
Yeah.
To have that belief, you know.
And I've always said, and we'll close soon. As long as you're a good person, as long as you're using things for the good, whether it's a platform or if you're in office, whatever, as long as you're a good person at the end of the day, boy, girl, a girl that wants to be a boy, the boy that wants to be a girl, a boy or a girl that wants to be a fuzzy animal or a month, I don't care.
Yeah. I don't care as long as it's not being pushed upon my kids.
Exactly.
If it's being forced and pushed, like from school systems and stuff,
I agree.
I'll take them out.
Yeah.
I don't want that stuff being indoctrinated
They need
into
to
my
figure it out
kids' brains.
themselves.
I will raise my kids in a way that is right and what biblically is correct. If they choose otherwise as they get older, that's on them. But it's my job and duty as a parent to do my due diligence is to raise them up the best way that I know how.
Amen, brother.
I don't care about all that.
Yeah.
I don't care about people, men that like men. You like men, it's your life. One day, they will be judged for that. By the right judge.
Yeah.
No one else out here is the judge of that.
Not Jimmy down the street.
No.
Not Carol.
That's it. So all these people that are, you know, bashing trans and gays and all that.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say it ain't right.
Right.
Because I've been born and raised to say that's not right, and biblically it's not right. But I'm not to judge that. I say, hey, I don't agree with that. But I like Frankie.
Right.
Frankie's a really good Ariana Grande's brother. He's a good friend of mine, and he's gay.
But he's a good friend.
But he's a good friend. I told him, I said, Frankie, I love you. I don't love the lifestyle that you live, but I love you as a person.
Right.
And and at the end of the day, he's my friend. I don't have to agree with what he does. That's okay. He probably don't agree with I got to shoot guns and kill animals. And,
right.
He may not agree with that, but he knows I'm a good person at heart.
Yeah. I think you're 100% right. And that's why I mess with you. You know what I'm saying?
That's why you in my crew. You know what I'm saying?
That's why you ride with me, boy.
That's why we be riding and we be dying too.
But before we end, man, I know we got to get things going because this is the third time we've tried to film the show.
Yeah.
If there's that one thing, so we have a lot of listeners from, teens to even some younger cats listen. A lot of our older audience listens as well. What is something that's truly helped you through life? Because we talk about a lot of motivational things on here and inspirational messages. And I try to help people through my mistakes that I've made through life and kind of hey, here's what you can do to maybe think outside the box. I'm not trying to change who you are or change your way of thinking, but this is what's helped me and maybe you can benefit from it. So what is that one thing that's really kind of helped you get through life or go through life that you could potentially see other people using?
I would say probably one of the biggest things, believe in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think you hear so much noise on the outskirts. God gave you ears to listen. He gave you eyes to see, and he gave you a mouth to speak. And I feel like as a kid, you get influenced and you believe. Think of a kid, they see something, they believe it. If they see it on TV, they believe it.
Oh, yeah.
If they see a UFO on Facebook, they believe it's a real UFO. Very easily influenced. I feel like in today's society, too many kids are told they can't. You can't do that. Oh, man, there's no way you'll ever become a rapper. There's no way. You'll never be in the NFL. Are you crazy? If you can think it, your brain can comprehend that, and you can think it, and you can believe it, it can happen. And I truly believe that. Hard work, nothing comes easy.
Right.
Some people are born with silver spoons in their mouth and they woke up in generational wealth. That happens. But if you're not that fortunate, you can still become wealthy, and then you can create generational wealth for your family. Yeah. It's possible. And just don't let anyone tell you that you cannot do something.
Yeah.
I have been told several times I wouldn't be anything. I would amount to nothing. Growing up the way I did. And for me, I always told myself the sky's the limit. The sky. You know how high the sky is.
Yeah, goes on and on and on and on.
Anything is achievable with the right mindset and the right belief system. And I truly do believe that. I just reach for the stars any chance you get. If you get an opportunity, take it. Be an opportunist.
Yeah.
An opportunist. If you may fail. You'll fail many more times than you'll succeed.
Yeah.
And that's just how the freaking cookie crumbles. You'll be told no more times than you're told yes.
Yeah.
That's part of it. But you can't be afraid of the no. You've got to take the no on the chin and take another no. Take the next no. But
when you get that yes, though.
One day when you get that yes.
Or that victory.
It will mean much more to you when you get it. Because you've fallen down so many times with them no's. You've been beaten down. But the harder you work for that, one day you're going to get a yes.
Yeah, and you're going to appreciate it.
Yeah, it's like applying for Survivor or Big Brother.
Yeah.
You know how many people that's come to my meet and greets are like, dude, I've tried out like 3 and 4 times, man. I'm thinking about just doing it one more time.
Yeah.
Do it one more time.
Dude, my cousin with the fire department he would make it this far this time, this far this time, this far. I think he tested 8 times.
Yeah.
And this last time he was like, man, I ain't doing it. And Jamie was like, you got to do it. It's something you want to do. You wanted this for a long time.
Those people remember your face when they see you. That they remember.
He was there like 8+ times, dude.
Yeah.
And then made it.
And it's,
And then he made it. Like he's a Bowling Green Fire Department worker.
Oh, you're not talking about for the show. You're talking about.
Sorry.
Gotcha. Yeah. No,
I'm talking about here for the fire department.
But that's on the same borderline.
Yeah.
He tested 8 times, was told no, failed, whatever. 7 of those times. And then he's like, you know what? I'm just going to give it one more try. Because he got up. Falling is one thing. Your character really is measured in who you are.
Yeah.
Your strengths and your weaknesses is measured by how many times you get knocked down. But it really says something about you, how many times you get up.
Yeah. You said something that really hit home is, and I've heard it before, is it's true. If you can think it, your brain has processed it, you can do it.
You can.
You just got to figure it out. And like you said, it's not ever easy. And anything you have to work for is never easy. It's called work for a reason.
Work, yeah.
You know, and any kind, I mean, you got your work, you know, you blow up balloons, but if you want to achieve something and grow with a company, you're going to have to do more than just blow up balloons. Yeah, you're going to have to figure out how to blow up balloons
and then,
tie them,
then make them into a horse.
Make them into them into a little sword pony or something. But like, if you can think it, do it. Just like the little bug man that came here today. He was wanting to sell like a 6-month thing and do our bugs. So we ended up doing it. But he was like, man, I've always thought about making content. I'm like, do it. What are you waiting for? I was like, do you like doing stuff like that? He's like, yeah. I was like, go home and film something.
Yeah. I mean, even if it's on your phone. For your first thing, just film it.
That's what we did.
Just
filmed it on an iPhone.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the newest iPhone.
Yeah. Don't be afraid of being told no. It's okay. Being told no is okay. And I think that's where we fail as like in my generation and even the younger generation, which even with social media today, no to people is hurtful. They told me no.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Toughen up.
You just fell.
Yeah.
Now we're looking at you. We're looking at you that you just fell. Now we're going to see what type of person you are.
Yeah, your true character shows.
Are you going to stand up or not? And that is what I believe when it comes to our generation, mine and younger, and even a step up for me. You can fall down 10. That means you've gotten up 9, right? And you fell down the 10th time.
Yeah.
If you don't stand up for the 10th time, then you have failed. Stand up.
Yeah.
Stand up, keep moving, have an objective, and complete it, even if it takes standing up 15 times.
Yeah.
Always work hard. Work hard for what you got. Money don't grow on trees. And this life is not getting any easier.
Oh, hell no.
This world is not getting any easier. Christ is coming back at some point. And for me, and the biggest thing outside of leaving with a good punchliner is make sure you're ready when God comes back. I see the signs all the time on the side of the road. If God came back tomorrow, where would you go? And that's it's an eye opener.
Yeah.
It really is. Because at the end of the day, man, like God is real. He's real.
Yeah.
Hell is real. And that's some days you may feel like, man, I don't know where I would go.
Right.
I ain't read my Bible in a month. I don't know where I would go. But knowing where you're going to go is a good feeling.
Right.
The rest of this stuff just comes and goes.
Yeah.
We're aliens here. We don't, this ain't our place. We're passing through here too. So knowing where you're going to go when God comes back is God is definitely real. So,
well,
I wanted to put that in there.
I appreciate it. And for the record, this dude is a hard worker. I mean, you are a hard worker and an awesome friend. I mean, I could call him and say, hey, Caleb, need a tool or something.
Yeah, and I still haven't got that tool back.
It's in my garage. You need to get it before you go.
By the way,
he's like, yeah, I'm waiting to actually use it, but someone's got it.
No, now that I'm contracting, I don't need any tools.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can have it. No,
yes.
Yeah.
Will you sign it first? No. Yeah, super hard worker, great guy, awesome dad. I mean, you are an awesome dad.
For sure.
You got an awesome family, and I'm just excited. We get to go on vacation together.
We
soon.
are. It's next year, but we're going.
We're going.
No, it's only a couple months away.
Yeah.
But Lord, a couple months.
We
feels
should have
forever.
planned it before Ashley planned it for
the
us.
button. She clicked the button and not only added a day.
She picked a few months out.
Booked it a few months away. It's like, oh my gosh.
We're trying to go tomorrow.
Yeah, so we're going the week before school starts.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
Yeah.
No, not really, but it's going to be fun, man. Like I was just telling Carlos, I was like, dude, we've only known them for like 3 or 4 weeks and we've already got a trip booked.
Yeah.
And I truly feel that God has brought you guys into our life, and I'm a strong believer in people's paths cross for a reason.
Oh yeah.
I never knew in a million years anyone in Bowling Green. I didn't know you were here.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been into myself with this type of stuff because I don't know anyone here that does social media like I have been. So when he told me about you, I was just like, that's cool, you know? So then we ran into you. Then we ended up closing the deal on the patio and then doing your podcast. Here we are 4 weeks from now, from when we started. And you guys are just such great people and you guys are a blessing to us. And I believe that our sibling, you know, our kids, our kids and our wives get along great, and they're all so close in age. And I really do feel like you guys were a God thing. So outside of this podcast, we appreciate you guys' friendship. And,
sweet, dude.
And we're excited to go on this Florida trip with y'all.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I don't think they're ready.
No.
When I say they, I'm talking Whitney and Ashley.
Yeah, they're not ready. No,
they ain't ready for this.
They're not.
And speaking of Whitney and Ashley, we'll have Caleb and Ashley on as a dynamic duo, and then me and Whitney will be on as well. Because there's so much about them. You know, Caleb's married to a badass. I mean,
I'm married to Katniss Everdeen.
She is bad,
Yeah,
and
she a baddie. She a baddie.
not only is she beautiful,
yeah, she's beautiful, but she can like Tomb Raider.
Yeah, she like Tomb Raider.
Yeah, she's Tomb Raider. She'll straight up pull a pistol out.
She got a quick draw.
She's got a quick draw. She'll pull a pistol out and have a bullet down the chamber, gone through the barrel and at a target in like a second.
Yeah, it's wild.
So
and I can't wait to hear more about that too. It's gonna be awesome.
Don't mess with me, I'll release my wife on y'all.
He'll be like, don't make me call Ashley.
Yeah, don't make me get the quick draw in here.
That's so funny. Well, dude, I appreciate it. There's so much more to even talk about. We could talk. I mean, me and you, we could talk 3-4 hours. So we just gonna say cut. Even though this was the third time.
Yeah.
Every time has been awesome.
Every time has been good.
Every time's been good.
And something else has always come out, and there's also a new good word that comes out.
Yeah.
And then it's all like I like the on the flies. I don't like the question number 1.
Oh yeah.
Caleb, where was your first date? I would have been like, Daniel, this ain't for me.
Time's up.
Time's up.
Yeah,
you got one question in. I just like how it flows. It's all real.
Yeah.
There's no step 1, step 2.
Yeah, I want it
It
easy.
is 10 minutes in. Oops, I forgot to hit record. Oh, good job, Daniel.
Yeah.
Take number 3.
That's what any known person has always said. I've made it like comfortable for them or easy. Like Noah was like, dude, you made this so simple.
Yeah.
Ryan, Nee Miller, he was like, man, you made this so easy. It's like, I'm just a person.
Yeah.
Feel like I'm a likable guy, you know. It's like I just want to talk and meet a new friend, you know.
Okay.
All
right.
But yeah,
my wife is calling, but I have to say I actually have
2 holes.
2 holes in each of my toes. So I'm just a real person.
But we love you. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time. Thanks for coming on the show. Caleb Reynolds, everybody. Go check out the reruns, the remakes, The Big Brother, The Survivor.
Check it out. Check it out.
Be ready for a family vlog because we coming in hot.
We coming.
We'll see you next time.
See y'all.